Every birth is different. I don't remember my first birth, although I'm told I was there. But I do remember my second, when I was born again, because I came into the kingdom kicking and screaming. I'd always thought that I was the problem child, the difficult one. In fact, I was convinced I was adopted for a long while as a child. I think some of these distorted views were formed when I was 3. I was sent to my grandmother's because my mum had to go down to Bournemouth to nurse her mother while she was dying of cancer. I was sent to Grandma while my brother Mike was allowed to stay in the family home because he was school age and he was with my dad. So I suppose my 3-year-old mind developed some sort of feeling of rejection and abandonment. Anyway, that's a long time ago. Fast forward sort of to our 20s and my brother went mad, in my view. He became Christian. He completely changed. All these people, these Christians from the church, would come round with a smile on their face. And I thought, what on earth are they smiling at me for? I just didn't get it. I was also very cross because I felt that Jesus had stolen my brother because he no longer had the time or the inclination to continue doing the folk singing that we used to do with questionable lyrics, and also to do some amateur dramatics that we used to do as well, because it coincided with house group, whatever that was. Little did I know that these house groups were spending some time praying for me. Thank you. But I just marvel at that, because years later, when I finally came through, we were in the worship team together, praising the Lord and doing little sketches, all for his glory, the proper way, the best way. Anyway, in my 20s, I lurched from unfortunate relationship to unfortunate relationship, always looking for some love. And similarly, most of the partners that I had were in need of something from me. And I ended up in a very abusive relationship, toxic it was actually, with a compulsive gambler, addicted. And as we all know, addictions are family illnesses. And while we appreciate it's an illness, it's also devastating for the families trying to sort things out because they think it's in their power to fix things. And I played my part in the codependence and occasionally enabling, judging. But I was desperate. I was just at rock bottom, I can tell you. I didn't want to live anymore. Things went from bad to worse. But like I often say, Jesus lives at Wits End Corner. And he was there for me. He was a gentleman. My brother would say, you need Jesus in your life. And I would say, no, I don't. I need a decent husband. But gently, God just surrounded me with everything. I was tripping over Christians. I was seeing billboards. I was reading things in the Bible. I'd come to church for sympathy from my brother or prayer or whatever, but then there'd be a prophecy for me. All the choruses made me cry. I cried so many tears. But I know now that all our tears are not wasted. They're in his bottle. Anyway, things were just going from bad to worse, and I'd coincidentally got a dinner booked with some people from the church, and that week it was just up the ante. By the time it came and I went there, I couldn't wait for dinner to finish because I just needed to get saved. I needed to get this mess sorted out. I think, again, in floods of tears, I repented and gave my life to the Lord. I asked him to come in and sort me out. And he gave me laughter. I sat on the floor and I laughed and laughed and laughed and laughed my socks off for over 10 minutes. It was like all that shame and that guilt had just been lifted off. I had a compilation tape in the car which I put on the way home down the A10 at 1 in the morning, and the Hallelujah chorus came on and I sang every word at the top of my voice, meaning every word. The next day at work, people noticed the change. They didn't know what I'd been going through because that's one of the things with addiction. You isolate yourself and you clothe it in secrecy because of the shame. Anyway, I can't say it was smooth running after that, because now I was under new management. The whole balance at home had changed. But God got me through. Not necessarily the way I thought he would, but he got me through. But that's a whole other story. I was saved on the Thursday. Coincidentally, again, there's that word, baptised on the Sunday. So that was a whirlwind. That was kicking and screaming. One last thing, someone had in the church, early days, had a prophecy for me. They had a picture. They had a picture of a sheep with barbed wire entangled throughout the whole of its fur. And she said that she felt the Lord was saying that he was going to remove it, but he couldn't do it all at once because I would not survive. But he had his wire cutters in his hand, and bit by bit he was going to remove all that tangled barbed wire. And guess what? God is not a man that he should lie. Hallelujah.